Hello, I'm Bob Matheny, Mayor of Zebulon, and this is the Zebulon Mayor Show. We're probably, well not probably, we're at a place that probably most people in Zebulon have not been to, and that's the Public Works facility. And so we thought we would talk a little bit about what this facility has to offer, what it does, and maybe what it doesn't do. I don't know, but we'll hopefully give you some information on that. And that's where we are now at the Zebulon Public Works facility, which is out on East Horton Street. Joining me is Chris Ray, our Public Works Director. Glad to have you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the invitation
on
today.
board. Let's talk just a little bit about what's down here, and I think they'll see some pictures as we move around. But just what do you have here?
Basically, this facility is composed of three different types of structures here. We have our office building, which we're in now. Has 3 or 4 offices, has conference rooms, has a break room, which we're sitting in now. Our guys take normal break. We have our maintenance shop facility, which is basically a 5-bay shop facility, about 5,000 square feet, where we do our preventative maintenance and store equipment. And then we have our maintenance yard. Our maintenance yard has our storage of equipment, stores our bulk materials for stone, riprap, sand, salt. And also part of the maintenance yard is our fueling station, where emergency vehicles and public works vehicles, but actually all town vehicles get fuel here. It's open 24 hours a day. It's got emergency power, so during the event of a storm or emergency, police and fire vehicles can get fuel anytime they need it, and be assured of that.
And I assume that all of the public work vehicles are parked here at night.
Yes, sir.
If they're not being used. Any other vehicles that are kept here?
We basically, no other vehicles are staged here, no other departments and stuff. We'll have our equipment, trailers and stuff like that, but basically it's designated for public works. Time to time, police have used it for a staging facility. Fire departments use it for some training down here and stuff like that,
Right.
but generally it is public works.
Now, you talk about equipment. What type of equipment do you have? People see the bucket truck out on the streets, and they see the street sweeper out on the streets, but what other equipment?
Well, one of the big things that our residents are clearly see a lot is our yard waste truck, our knuckle boom truck that goes around and picks up our bulky yard waste. It also picks up our bulky waste on Friday. Clearly, in Public Works, we have backhoes and bobcats. We have salt spreaders and brine equipment where we put down in the winter months for winter conditions and stuff. We have other type of things that from trailers, mowing equipment. Generally, those type of things that you would find at a normal DOT yard or something that you might have seen. So our yard doesn't differ much from theirs.
And your maintenance facility, the maintenance you perform, I assume is more like routine maintenance,
yes.
not
Yes,
heavy maintenance.
Yes, sir. We do mostly all preventative maintenance, the oil changes, the servicing, tire rotation, the greasing. Other work, major engine work, transmission work, brake work is outsourced to vendors and stuff.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess I don't know if people ever wonder about that, but again, as I stated earlier, I think this is probably the least viewed town facility.
Yes, it's definitely off the beaten path, a little bit.
But very important to the services that the town brings to the people. Well, let's talk just a little bit about the projects. Just probably 2 hours ago, someone asked me about the sidewalk project coming from the middle school out to the Boys and Girls Club. So let's update the folks on that.
Okay. We are currently working jointly with Wake County Facilities Design on a joint project that takes approximately 1,500 linear feet of sidewalk from the Zebulon Middle School to the new Boys and Girls Club. Basically, we have got grant funding from 2 agencies, NCDOT for $100,000 and Wake County CDBG funds, or Community Development Block Grant, for $158,000. Part of that funding is also from the town of Zebulon, which is approximately $39,600. So we're in the process of doing the designs, getting the encroachments agreements. We've already had the bridge, which we're crossing, has been rated, and our goal is to secure all these easements, get the design and all blessed by NCDOT by September 1st, with a goal of advertising shortly thereafter. We'll be back to you for the award, from the Board of Commissioners for the award in October. Our citizens will probably start seeing construction in mid-November, with construction ending up by the end of January. So
And you know, this project has been delayed several times, and my explanation to people is that it just got tangled up in engineering, and I guess that's probably as good as you can say it.
That is correct. Yeah, we had to go back and do a little work with the NCDOT bridge and structure units. They wanted some additional information we didn't anticipate in having to provide, but we have now provided that information. I've got that rating portion satisfied, and so we're now into the design and actually into the process submittal to DOT for their approval.
Well,
Since it is a DOT road.
Right. Well, not to belabor the point, but initially, I mean, it was not conceived that you're going to run into the problem with the bridge at all.
That's right.
And so then you might want to tell the story. You know, you found out that there was about an $80,000 stumbling block there, and then we went back to DOT for the grant.
You're exactly correct. You know, when we did go back to the bridge structures unit, they wanted some additional guardrail adjustments. Basically, they wanted to raise the existing concrete wall or parapet wall additional 18 inches and then put a 2-foot guardrail on there. We clearly didn't anticipate that. When anytime you modify a DOT structure like that, we got to make sure that it can handle that type of structure.
Right.
And so we basically went through that process, clearly come back with some additional costs, and we looked at DOT, asked them if there was any way they could help us since we were improving one of their structures. They were very gracious and found some funding for us and are providing up to $100,000 funding toward this project to make it a successful project in town for safe pedestrian and student movement between the two facilities.
And I just realized that I gave the wrong date to the person that questioned me about this. It's actually going to start in November and finish in January.
That's
I
correct.
told them I thought it would be finished in November. Sorry about that. But I'll go back and get that corrected, because I do know how to get in touch with them. But you know, I get questioned on that a lot.
Yeah, it's a good project. We've had some definitely interest in the Boys and Girls Club. The middle school has asked some questions. They see it as a need, and clearly if you travel up and down that road, you see their students walking back and forth. So we feel like this will make it a much safer pedestrian traffic.
Right. All right, let's talk about stormwater a little bit.
Well, we are, you know, stormwater last year, we basically got our permit online, y'all adopted a fee and all those type of things and appropriated some money for a street sweeper. I'm sure a lot of our residents have seen the articles in the Zebulon Record basically about the new sweeper and its new informative wrap. But from that, it got picked up in a national magazine and we got recognized for that wrap as part of the educational program we're doing. So we got good exposure from that. We were really excited about that a small town like Zebulon got recognized, and their story article actually is Small Town, Big Ideas. And so we were real proud that we got recognized for that. One of the things, if you don't mind, I'd like to take the opportunity now, we're always looking for stormwater volunteers for stenciling programs, litter sweep, and those type of things. So if anybody sees this program and is interested in volunteering, please contact the Public Works Department, myself, or our stormwater Superintendent Tony Rose, and we can get you hooked up with a volunteer program for you or a group that you might be having.
And it's not heavy labor stuff.
Oh, absolutely not. We do some things as small as a couple hours or an all-day event. We can tailor those things.
I get questioned, Chris, about you know, stormwater. Well, why do I have to pay a stormwater fee? Or, you know, I mean, this was actually an unfunded mandate, basically, that was put on us to do. And could you just speak to that very briefly?
Yes, sir. You know, I get the same question a lot of time. What is the stormwater fee going to? Well, basically, we're going to try through our stormwater program, through our sweeping and our cleaning and maintenance of the system, to stop sediment, chemicals, and debris getting to our streams, creeks, lakes, and all, which are basically our drinking water. It's also where we play and recreate, have recreation in. So it's basically an effort to stop those pollutants from entering the stream and catching them before they can cause pollution, so we don't have to worry about treating the water downstream.
And if anybody has questions on that, they're welcome to give you a call
Absolutely.
on any of this. Well, let's talk about recycling for just a bit. There are going to be some changes coming there.
Well, this year, as part of our budget process, we went back and forth with our board, and especially our mayor, and looked at options for cost saving. You know, this year has been a difficult year for us from a budget standpoint, and we looked at creative ways where we might have the opportunity to save some money. Well, one of those opportunities that we presented that y'all took advantage of is to go to bi-weekly recycling. And so basically, the board has approved that. We got this in place with Waste Industries, and we'll be looking to roll that out in August. We were put bill stuffers in, talking about the change in your water bill that you should be getting here soon. But basically, we're going to go from weekly recycling pickup to bi-weekly. we're going to double it. We're going to pick up on August 5th and August 6th, whatever your regular pickup is, your 48-gallon cart that you currently have. We're going to, right within 24 hours, we're going to swap that 48-gallon cart out for a 96-gallon cart out. So basically from that point on, starting the 19th and the 20th, your recycling will be picked up every 2 weeks. Now trash will remain the same. The carts will be different, so you'll have a gray cart that's a 96-gallon for trash. You'll have a green one that is for recycling. So we feel like it's an opportunity to save money. We're actually going to be saving over $10,000 this year, and it's one way we have actually tried to reduce our budget, but yet still offer the same service.
Yeah, you know, the recycling program has been a really popular program, and I think you've seen it increase.
Oh, absolutely. We see our annual volumes
it's good for
increasing.
the environment, good for the town. But, you know, I want people to understand that it's still important, and that when you say the 96-gallon, that's the same size as their trash container is now. So basically they can double what they put in there. Now, they may have to be, you know, cut a box down to make it fit instead of throwing the whole box in there. I'm
Yes,
guilty
sir.
of doing that. So
Oh,
I've
absolutely.
started cutting them down already. Of course, I've been on a large container for some time, and it works very well. But you know, it is important, and you're right. We had a just extremely tough budget year. You know, and you just can't keep the same service level, unfortunately, and we're sorry for that. But at least we're able to continue, you know, recycling.
Yes, sir.
Anything else you can think of?
Well, we want to remind them about the items that they can recycle. But first, if you know, there's bill stuffers that are going to be out there. There's going to be ads in the Eastern Wake News. There's a schedule on our website. We're also putting a sticker on the recycling card that shows your recycling days through the whole fiscal year. So if you forget, if you're like me, you're going to forget, just go out to your cart. There'll be a weatherproof sticker that's placed on there. It shows you the pickup schedules for your zone, and hopefully it'll be a painless transition. But you know, we want to continue to encourage people to recycling. You know, the newspaper ads and inserts, glass, aluminum, anything that you see with a triangle that has a number 1 through 5 on it that's a plastic is recyclable. Any office paper, cardboard boxes, magazines, those type of all things are recyclable, and we encourage everybody to recycle to try to keep our landfill costs down, because you know, clearly disposing of it is expensive. It's much cheaper to recycle it.
Well, there's some things they cannot recycle, at least in the recycling bin. They can do it at the station between Zebulon and Wendell. Certain metals.
Yeah,
and,
metals,
you know,
oils, antifreeze, any type, paints, those type of things, batteries, yes. Those type of typically, they call them hazardous waste, but they're low hazard type things, can easily be disposed of at that location between us and Wendell.
And, well, another thing that I've been asked on is like propane tanks. They can carry propane tanks there, but no, you can't throw them in, you know, in your recycling bin. Anything else you can think of that? What is the most common thing, if you know, that people put in recycling that they should not? And I realize I just threw that question at you.
You caught me off guard definitely on that one.
But
I would probably say is some of those, the oils and those type of things that they think they want to recycle it, and they think going through this method, we've seen jugs and those type of things or oil filters in there. You can't do that. You have to take those to the convenience center. And
how about paint cans with dried paint in it?
If the paint if it's fully dried and fully hardened, if you pulled it up, if the paint is hardened, or you've taken it and poured it out on a piece of plastic and stuff and let it dry, you can then put that in the trash, and then we can take the can and recycle it. But the paint, you cannot have any paint that's usable paint basically in there.
Right. But they can do.
They can take it to the convenience center in Wendell.
Center. I know several years ago we did a show at the recycling center, and what this is called is single stream cycling, meaning that this stuff comes down the stream, and they actually have people up there physically saying, no, that can't go, this can't go. And you know, it's pretty interesting. Might be time to do another one and kind of update it. And the reason I say that, at that time, I think we could only go up to maybe 3 or 4. And now, if people will look at the symbol, the little triangle on there, and the number in it, we can go up to a 5.
That's correct. That is correct.
Which changed, I don't know, a year ago. Maybe.
About a year or 2 years ago, yeah. But it's been definitely.
But back at that time, you couldn't even. I think a 3 was as high as you could go. But you know, I know my wife ask me constantly, can I recycle this? And, you know, my most common answer is, well, what's the symbol on it? You know, if it's plastic, you know.
Oh, absolutely. And that clearly, I'm sure at your house, especially since you got a larger container, we are actually having more recycling at my household than I do trash.
Right.
And
we do.
so that I see that trend in our numbers,
Yeah.
you know, on our annual reporting. So
Actually, I think I might have recommended the reverse of this, except for the spoilage of food items. And,
Absolutely.
You know, just couldn't do that. One other quick thing, how about aerosol cans? Do you know?
I do not know. I'll have to
Okay.
get that answer and
That's
get back
fine.
to you.
My thinking is you cannot do enclosed aerosol cans.
I think because it's a pressurized vehicle,
Right,
it's part of the
right.
reason why that they don't
Okay,
want
well, I
that.
didn't mean to surprise you with that.
Well,
I just didn't know.
It's not a common question, but yeah.
Well, let's talk about the Friends of Wakeland and what they've done.
Yes, I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to say thank you to them. We recently completed a project with them to repaint the fountain at Town Hall Courtyard. You may recall back in the spring of 2009, they dedicated that courtyard and that fountain to the town of Zebulon. And we worked with them in that construction process and turned out a very fantastic courtyard. It's a real asset to the Town Hall campus. But like anything else, it needs maintenance over time. Clearly, we talked earlier about our tight budget, so I went back and approached them about possibly going with us jointly on a maintenance problem, repainting it. They were very receptive to it. They had saw some of the deterioration over time. They went through went with their board of directors and basically contributed $3,100 to have it repainted. We assisted them in relocating it while it was painted and stuff. But we again want to say a special thanks to those guys. They've made a significant investment in our campus, and they continue to do that. And just as another example of it.
Well, they've been a real asset to the town and that facility, and that they raised all this money selling bricks pavers and granite pavers. And they're still selling those, so you'll see new ones go in all along, and that's their idea, is to nurture that, keep it growing, and work with the town. And I echo your remarks. We thank them very much for what they've done. That pretty well covers the Public Works facility here, and we're going to move down to the community park and talk about a little bit of the work down there and the things that Public Works do there. I mean, the Recreation Department does some of it, Public Works does some of it, and then some of it's done hand in hand. So we're going to go down there and talk about some new things that have happened down there. Okay, we have moved down to Community Park, which is, I would call, the crown jewel of our park system.
Absolutely, sir.
We actually have 6 parks here in town, and so I'm very proud of that fact. This again is I consider to be the crown jewel. We also have a 7th park, and that's owned in conjunction with town of Wendell, but we've not really developed that park as yet, so that's something in the future. Anyway, down here recently, Chris, Public Works has been involved with a number of projects, and we're going to talk about some of those. But first I want to talk about the walking trails that are down here, and this map shows those. Just so the people will know where we are, we're right here. This is the driveway coming in, and the parking lot with the ball fields here and here. So we're standing about in this area. Tell us just a little bit about where these trails are, where they go, where they come from, so forth.
You said earlier that we work jointly closely with our Parks and Rec department, and they've took the lead on this project. But I'll tell you a little bit about this. This project is a grant they got. Sheila with our Parks and Rec department took the lead on this and got a grant for this. It was a 3-phase grant. Currently they have put in phase 1 and phase 2, so it was existing here, phase 1 and phase 2, basically at a construction cost of about almost $40,000, and that was grant from the Rex Foundation, so we greatly appreciate them. And in this year, as part of this upcoming year fiscal year budget, they're going to put in phase 3 of this. Each one of these phases is approximately 1/3 of a mile. And so if you make a track around, currently what is done is you're walking 2/3 of a mile. It's getting quite a bit of use at this time, and then we're opening up the additional third sometime late fall, hopefully. So,
well, just to help people out, the tot lot and the bathrooms and picnic shelters are here. So this trail comes up. This part of it has been paved.
yes, sir.
This around the ball fields has been paved.
Yes, sir.
Now the distance around here is a third of a mile.
That is correct.
3 times around, you've got
At
a mile, and
yeah.
it's a nice level walking surface
yes.
in order to do that. As is this. Now I don't happen to know this distance. Do you?
It is a third of a mile.
This
Each
is
one
a
of them
third?
also is a
So
third.
this is a third. This is a third.
And then the future is a third.
And this is a third. Well, how about that? Okay.
Kind of worked out that way.
Yeah.
You know, so
And this subsequently will go down and cross the creek and tie into Barbie Street.
Yes, sir. That's correct. Yes,
Right.
sir.
Okay.
So yeah, we get a lot of use, especially when young youth are out here practicing baseball and stuff. You see moms and dads walking around the track and stuff.
Yeah, and I've come
so,
down at lunchtime, and you'll see people coming down just to use this section, and perhaps this as well. But I see most, most of the lunchtime walkers seem to go round and round on this. So anyway, it's a healthy activity, and it's a safe activity, and it's a safe environment.
Oh, absolutely.
To do it in. Well, over the years, this park has evolved and greatly evolved, I should say. We have the tot lot down here that I've actually shown some film of that before. Talk about that just a bit.
We finished the tot lot up in 2010, and you're right, we did do a show right during the construction process down there. That was a great addition to our park system. We were fortunate to get grants there also from Wake County CDBG. We put in some fundings in there and made an investment a little over $300,000 there. We put in the tot lot, the bathroom facilities, and then we also did, was a small part that was a stream restoration project. So that was a great project, and it clearly added value to our park. And clearly, in the background here, you can hear kids playing over there at that tot lot now. And it is one of the most highly used areas we have in town. Parks and Rec does a good job keeping the maintenance on it because it does get a lot of traffic from there.
And there are also picnic shelters.
There's 2 picnic shelters over there. They're available for rent. If you'll contact our Parks and Rec department, they'll make those available to you and discuss the rates and the availability of those. But those are used nice.
Now, what this map does not show is that the community center is right here, and it abuts this park. So if you park in the community center, you can come through and get into the park, but there's also parking here for the tot lot, the bathrooms, and the picnic shelters as well. Now, also here, there's basketball courts. We turn around and we can see those. And then future plans are for 2 additional ball fields here.
Yes, sir.
Now, there's something really great down here that a lot of towns don't have, and they're starting to have. And that's Frisbee golf.
Frisbee golf. Well, our Parks and Rec department is really excited about the Frisbee golf. It's an 18-hole championship golf. Actually coming up this weekend, I think the annual state championship is here with the Cha-Ching event, I believe is what they call it. Greg has told me many a times that he gets from the people that come to this event that just rave how nice the facility is. Greg always tells me that it's a top 5 facility for disc golf, and so we get a lot of positive comments back regarding our disc golf. And it is down through the wood line down through there, and it's got holes, and the guys and gals that do it thoroughly enjoy it from what I've heard.
Well, we actually filmed a show down here, and I proved that I could not throw a frisbee very well, but nonetheless, we did do a show. But when I'll come down here and walk periodically, I don't walk up and tell people I'm the mayor. So it's interesting to hear their comments without them knowing that, and just without fail, they'll talk about what a great golf course this is. The Frisbee people, they come from all over to play here. So we invite you, and you know what? They can actually go to the community center and check out for $10, I think, some Frisbees, come over here, play, carry them back, get their $10 back, and so they can come down and see if they like it, and if they do, then they can go out.
It's definitely very unique, and like you said, very challenging. It's not quite as simple as that Frisbee we and you grew up throwing on the beach and stuff.
I was used to throwing that. It's like, Gary, I think, was merciful to me when he filmed that show. So, but anyway, having said that, we encourage people to come down here, as we do in all of our parks. What we want to do now is talk about the lighting that's been changed and some of the changes with the ball field. So for that portion, let's move around the other side so that people can get a better idea of what's happening.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, we've moved around to the ball fields down at the community park now, and there's been a lot of work going on down here recently. Chris, why don't you tell us about at least where we're standing here?
Well, previously we wouldn't even been able to, before we done this project, wouldn't have been able to even stand here. This area was fenced off, had blue netting up to kind of screen it. It had 480-volt transformers, control panels, irrigation pumps, and irrigation controls, and it just really didn't work well for, you know, a spectator coming out to watch their son or daughter play sports on the field. And so when as part of the project, when the poles were basically 25 years old and needing to be replaced, and the fixtures, we said, if we're going to do this project, we need to open up this area. And I think Mr. Beck was a big supporter of opening this area up, if I remember correctly, during our discussions during the budget process. And we were able to, you know, come in, relocate these, put in 10 new poles, 2-piece galvanized poles, 121 new fixtures. There are 1,500 watt metal halide fixtures, and raise the field lighting level to 50 on the infield and 30 on the outfield. And so a drastic improvement on the lighting level. And Tim Hale is just, who's our Parks and Rec athletic coordinator, is just raved about the lighting level and how much positive comments we've got back so far since it's been used since April.
Well, you mentioned that the poles were 25 years old. They were wooden poles.
They were wooden poles.
And so let's talk a little bit about what the years had done to them.
Oh, yeah. I think you'll recall when we did the presentation to the board and all, I had a tape measure, and I could take my tape measure and sit it in 6 to 7 inches inside the diameter of probably 24 to 30 inch pole. I could put the tape measure, it had cracks and voids in it up to 6 to 7 inches long.
Right.
And so, and the manufacturer of those poles basically told our it was at the end of the useful life and stuff. Right. And so clearly they were twisted with wood poles like anything else. They'd twist and gets the aiming off, and they were just coming to a point where it was time to replace them.
Okay, now these poles, are they any taller than this?
No, sir. They're actually the same height.
They're
as
thinner. That's why
they are
makes them
thinner.
look taller.
With the structural steel, they are thinner. There are 2-piece poles, so they were basically, the base was set, and then the top portion was set down on it, and gravity and friction holds it in place. Their pole length, total length, is 80 feet long. They're 70 feet out of the ground, so they're 10 feet below ground with a big concrete anchor and rebar mast there supporting those. And
the lighting fixtures themselves, I know they're new. Is there more lighting than what it used to be?
Yes, sir. We have raised the lighting level to 50-foot candles on the infield and 30 on the outfield. And for the average person, we had about 98 fixtures previously. Now we have 121 fixtures.
Okay. Well, I heard you give the candle powers before, but I didn't know what it was previously.
Well, previously we were probably, we never had any real measurements. The original design was probably more of a 30-20.
Right.
And so we raised it up more to a tournament level. So if our Parks and Rec wants to have sponsored, sanctioned events, we have the lighting to match that. Okay.
Well, you know, we're standing between the two ball fields, and there's also a refreshment center here. The building they can't see that we're looking at, what is that?
we call it the pavilion, but really it is a bathroom facility, and it has upstairs storage and stuff that we use for the athletic events that go on out here. Yeah. So basically a bathroom facility for the average person that attends here.
Well, I didn't know what was being done upstairs. I think its original concept was for announcers or something.
That is correct. That was the original design concept back in the late 80s, and we kind of moved more to the scores booth and a little bit closer to the field.
Well, these fields really, I know the rec department looks after them.
Yes.
They're really in great shape and well used. Anything other than what else is it used for down here? I mean, meaning other than baseball.
Baseball. Well, I know they got some baseball and softball. They do have some soccer out here in the outfield on field A. They do that from time to time. I believe there's church groups that have actually come out here and rented it and just have a chance to come out here and have a little exercise and a little fellowship together. So they are available for rent. I think we actually rent them out to East Wake Charter School, some of the fields at times. And so it's a lot of great opportunities out here, and it's just a really nice setting.
Well, and we encourage people to come down and enjoy the community park. Chris, I want to thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I really appreciate it, and I appreciate the work that Public Works does, and I constantly hear back from across the community. They appreciate. They call me when they're happy. They call you when they're sad. But no, seriously, we do appreciate what you do. I hope you found this information to be useful, and at any time, if you have a question, feel free to give me a call. Feel free to give Public Works or anyone else with the town a call, and we'll see if we can get an answer for you. Again, I hope you found this information useful, and we'll see you next month. Thanks a lot.